These Pennsylvania forest trails are some of the best spots to go off-roading within a relatively short distance of New York City. So when we heard some nutcase was driving around the Northeast in a Subaru Outback on a 4-inch lift, we told him to bring it out here and prove it. And holy crap, this thing is for real. Truck, yeah. Or maybe this time, wagon, yes.
When I first moved to Japan and wanted to get into off-roading, I bought a 4-door Wrangler in 07 when they first came out. At that time, I thought Jeeps were, great. There's nothing else I needed. But then I went to Saudi Arabia, and I got to have a mid-2000s Outback, and did the 3-inch lift on it, and some slightly larger tires and stuff. And coming to find out, it's actually pretty much just as good as anything else out there. It's got more cargo space than the Jeep Wrangler. It's got the same ground clearance as the Nissan Xterra. That sucked. Let's go see what I fucked up. So I hit this rock right here. It was a little higher than I thought it would be. And nice big dent right there in the skid plate. It's a good thing I had it. So we'll move this rock and try it again. Or go a different way, because that's a really big rock. So we'll go up this side. It'll get you to any campsite you need and out fishing, do some fun four-wheeling like this, and has the comfort of actually a normal car on the road. I thought I would get a lot more crap than I do. I get a lot more amazement, like people not really believing that it'll do what it does. Alright, so back that way somewhere, we hit some pretty gnarly mud holes with a lot of rocks on the bottom. It appeared as though one got hold of the exhaust. Kind of just knocked the gaskets out of place. And now I have a leak at the manifold, which it is what it is. It's all part of the fun. But when we get back to the trailhead, I'll get to the campsite and pull the front wheel off and take a look at it. Got that shit, man.
Can your Subaru do that?
Fuck no. My Subaru doesn't need to do that. Obviously, if I want to do rock crawling and stuff like that, I would never get a Subaru. But for an everyday normal person, they're highly underrated and very capable vehicles. Alright, so the damage tally for the day. This bracket right here, last time I was out here, I actually already scraped it a little bit. It seems as though this time it got hung up on a rock and pretty much destroyed itself. The exhaust got hit and pushed upwards. Well, somehow it got pushed above the body side of the muffler mount and actually rubbed the drive shaft and rubbed the CV boot off of the CV axle. Past that, we came out unscathed.
Grant's an engineer, so he appreciates efficiency. When he set out to build a camping car, he wanted to end up with something that could carry all his crap and keep up with real SUVs off-road without losing his on-road drivability. I couldn't join him till late because I was busy racing a tricycle against a watercraft.
Damn you, Chris Christie!
I'm glad you finally made it, man. It's taking so long.
Oh, it's been a big old day.
Man.
Good to see you, man.
Glad you finally made it back.
We set up camp and I passed out in the 4Runner. The next day, it was finally my turn to get some seat time in this ridiculous Subaru. So for those of you watching at home, the tires on this thing are pretty aggressive. That's like
29-inch. The 29-inch Cooper Discovery AT3s.
Yeah, and
very good tires. Love them.
It's got a good bite to it, and you wouldn't see it on most Outbacks. So now that we're on the dirt a little bit, it already feels happier with that back end. It does. It's just like the 4Runner, where it's like on road, obviously to a less extreme extent.
Yeah.
It's okay. On the dirt, it's much more like, oh yeah, okay.
It settles well.
Yeah. Oh my God! Some idiot drove a bagged Baja here.
Who would do that? You ruined it.
Well, like, what's the biggest challenges driving an Outback off road?
Really big rocks.
Okay.
It's not a rock crawler, man.
So ground clearance.
Well, yes and no. Like, my actual ground clearance is one thing, but my tip over clearance is another. Like, because the whole bottom of a Subaru is flat, our actual total ground clearance is better. When you lift them, the center basically goes way higher. So you have a bigger tip over clearance. So if you go over rock, you have clearance for it. Whereas when I go over rock, I have to make sure that I didn't slam down on my sides because nobody makes rock rails yet.
Does the CVT give you issues off road, or
no?
It's been all right.
The CVT is actually, in my opinion, one of the coolest parts about this car because they put something in the Outback now called X mode.
Yeah.
I believe it was in the Forester's last generation.
I think so too.
When you engage X mode, it actually kicks down the gear ratio to a low range in first and second gear when you're in the manual with paddle shifters. I found that versus when you have X mode on and off, even when you have grip, it's easier to bring yourself over obstacles than when not in X mode. So I mean, it's definitely a big difference that you can tell between the two.
And do you get nervous when you're hardcore wheeling your daily? I mean, like, you got to get yourself home, and you just go for it. You don't sweat it.
Well, I like to think that Subaru Roadside would come through in a pinch. To be quite honest, I mean,
Nebraska Creek Off-Road Park, could you pick me up?
Well, we'll make it to the rest stop.
Yeah.
I know what the car can do. I know what it can't do. It can do 100% of what I need it to do, but maybe 90% of what people say it should do. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
They're like, oh, well, it can do all this, but you can't do this. Well, yeah, that's true. But your Jeep also can't get 20 miles a gallon.
Right.
So for some people, it matters. For some people, it doesn't. This is built as, I'll say, quote unquote, adventure car. Yeah. It's not built to be a hardcore off-roader,
right.
even in any stretch of the imagination. So the fact that it can go down pretty much any class 4 road, go down most trails that you'll find, get you to the boat dock, get you to the campsite, to the hunt site. Right. I mean, that's what really matters. Plus, it's comfortable. The adaptive cruise control. You can just sit back. It follows the car in front of you. Yeah. I mean, it's
true. You're making a pretty strong case.
You can't complain. And not
lane departure warning.
See, it keeps you on your toes.